See, we need to understand why the softwares are required in the field of architecture and design. So unless we feel the necessity of architectural softwares, we won't be able to understand the value of it. We won't be able to understand the requirement of it. And first, feel the requirement, and then we should apply the knowledge of softwares in architecture. So we have these two questions: that why designers use softwares and why softwares are needed. So in today's era, all the designers in all the design firms, in all the architectural firms, and all the architects and all the designers use softwares, because what we need today is our even our clients who come to us for a project, they need a quick delivery of the projects. They cannot wait for a small residential building for, I mean, for a month or for 2 months. So it would be a very long period of time if we make them wait 2 months, 3 months to get it done, right? So for the fast delivery of projects, we need softwares, and we have lot of advantages of using softwares. So let's see the past that we have already crossed. So I have categorized our past in three different categories. One is the ancient time, which include the prehistoric to the beginning of formal architectural practice or formal architectural education. This is in the first category, ancient time. The second category is the before the invention of CAD. CAD means, I hope you people know what does it stands for, CAD. So before the invention of CAD, it includes the existence of formal practice of architecture. Then the next category is the after the invention of CAD, the recent time with computer-aided design. So I have broadly categorized our past into these three categories. One is the ancient time, then just before the invention of CAD, and after the invention of CAD. See, I'll make you go through these facts. So if you see the first fact, the first architect, Imhotep, according to the historian, he was the first architect, Imhotep. He designed the first Egyptian pyramid complex around 2600 BCE. See, these are some facts related to building construction. Uh, around 2600 BC, he was the first architect to design pyramid complex, which is there in Egypt. The next fact is Vedas were written between 1500 and 1000 BC. You know the Vedas, the holy books of Hinduism, Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Yajur Veda. So we have four Veds and all those Purans which were written between 1500 to 1000 BC. Then the next fact is the Parthenon was completed in 432 BC. And the interesting fact is paper was invented around 100 BC in China. So you could see all these projects, uh, pyramids of Egypt, then Parthenon. So all these projects were completed before the invention of paper. So you could feel the hard work that the designers of these buildings have done in the past without having a paper, without having all the drafting tools that we have today. So without all these equipments, without all these advantages, without all these necessary equipments, which are very much required for architectural education or architectural practice. So without all this, they have designed all these great structures and great buildings like the Egyptian pyramids, the Parthenon. All these buildings were complete before the invention of paper. And the first written books on architecture, which was written by Vitruvius, the 10 books of architecture, it was written in 27 BC. So you could see before the invention of the paper and just after the invention of paper, what type of projects were completed. So if you see the ancient time where people had very less equipments, less drawing materials, less tools to draw. So if you see the cave paintings of Bhimbetka, which dated back to the Neolithic or Paleolithic age of history, so you could see how difficult it was to paint on stones without having proper sketching tools, without having proper inks. So all these things were done before the before the invention of all the drafting equipments, or before the invention of papers. So which if you see the materials, bronze tool to scratch into clay tablets. So this was the only way people were used to draw or make sketches or design buildings. So these were the only tools available at that particular time. So at least you could understand how difficult it was to design a building. Just forget about the building design. I mean, you just try to imagine that somebody has already designed a building on a clay tablet, and if there is a minor change or minor modification on that particular plan, so he has to redesign or redraft the plan again. So how difficult it was that designing a building in that particular era, that has to be understood first before we talk about architectural softwares in today's era. Now see, these are some pictures of the situations or conditions before the invention of CAD. So people had to lie down like this, and they had to draft on large sheets like this. So how, I mean, this was very hard. This was a very complex task to complete at that time. So similarly, people, you could see how people were acting like machines, sitting on tables, sitting, working on those papers with very limited use of drafting tools, drafting materials. So everything was limited. All the scopes, all the instruments were limited at that time. Again, the same picture. So it was a very hard time for the architects or for the designers. So if you see the scenario, the process of design and drawing was time consuming. I mean, if I have to design even a small residential building or small commercial building, so I had to put a lot of effort. I had to put a lot of time to complete that particular design or particular drawing, because no softwares are there, no computers were there. So everything has to be made through with our hands, right, on papers. Then less option for drawing alteration. This is very important. I mean, without having all these advantages, it was very I mean, complex and confusing task to do some alterations on any drawing or any design. I mean, one modification, you need to do all the drawings again. So each modification, each change or a small alteration of on the drawing or the design will take you another 1.5 months or 1 and 2 months, or maybe 1 or 2 years to complete the whole design process. Then the amount of human physical effort was more required. Obviously, when you don't have computers, you have to put human effort, physical effort. Then human drafting errors were often visible. So it is obvious that when you draft, when you draw the design or the sketches with your hand, errors would be visible. Then less accuracy. Because of the errors, we had less accuracy in our designs, less accuracy in our drafting drawings. Then coordination between plan elevation and views were less. See, where today we have BIM softwares where I can parallelly make the plan, as well I can parallelly make the 3D view or 3D visualization of that project. But at that time, they have to draw the plan separately, they have to draw the elevation separately, and they had to draw the views separately. So the coordination between the plan elevation and the 3D visualization was very less at that point of time. But the expectations of the clients, first delivery of design drawings, more 3D visualization, accurate drawings with less error, modifications during the process of design. So these were the expectations of the clients at that time also, and today also. If you see the expectation of the clients, it actually meets all these points today. And before 100 years also, people or the clients wanted very fast delivery of design drawings. They wanted more 3D visualization of their projects. They wanted accurate drawings without having any error, and they wanted to do some modification even. So also they wanted to get some modification during the design process also. Now see the scenario after the invention of CAD. So once the CAD was invented, then we had these advantages, right? More 3D visualizations was possible. Fast delivery of drawing is possible. Less errors on the drawings or on the design is possible now. Then easily editable drawings is possible. Less human effort is required to complete a design or complete a drawing. Then less drafting time is required. So once you draft the things, you don't have to do the same drawing again and again and to do some modification or to do some alteration. So all these advantages uh, we have now after the invention of CAD. So the architect is happy, the designers is happy, also the client is happy now. Now see the application. If you see a normal design process, this is how a design process works. Starting from the design brief, we have these steps: the design brief, then data collection, data analysis or brainstorm, then conceptual drawings, preliminary drawings, and final drawings. If you see the design process, the last three steps, conceptual, starting from the conceptual stages to the final drawings, the main application of software is required. I mean, for data collection, we don't need proper architectural softwares like AutoCAD or SketchUp. For data analysis also, we don't need any architectural softwares. But yes, starting from the conceptual drawings to the final drawings, we need architectural softwares now to complete the project as fast as possible. So in the building industry or the architecture or the design industry, we have these type of softwares available. Like we have 2D drafting softwares, we have virtual 3D modeling softwares, then we have BIM softwares, we have simulation softwares, we have softwares to prepare presentation drawings, so we have animation editing softwares. We have a lot of softwares, but I have categorized all the softwares into these 5, 6, 7 categories. So we'll discuss all those softwares according to these categories. Now see, if you see AutoCAD, QCAD, LibreCAD, NanoCAD, FreeCAD, etc. So all these are 2D drafting CADs, 2D drafting tools or softwares. So what we could do with these 2D drafting softwares, we could make normal 2D geometrical drawings with the help of these 2D drafting softwares. So among all the 2D drafting softwares, what is the dominant player? AutoCAD is the dominant player among all the 2D drafting softwares that we have in our design industry. And not only in the field of architecture, in different stream of engineering also they use AutoCAD. For mechanical engineering also they use AutoCAD. For interior design also, for civil engineering also they use AutoCAD for their 2D drafting. Then we have virtual 3D modeling software. So these are some examples of 3D modeling softwares like Google SketchUp, AutoCAD 3D, and 3ds Max. So all these are some examples of. It's not like we have only these 3 softwares for 3D modeling. We have more than these 3 softwares, but I have just put these 3 examples in this category. So with the help of 3D modeling softwares, what we could do is we could visualize the 3D of our project, and we could develop a virtual 3D modeling with the help of these 3D modeling softwares. Then we have BIM softwares. So these are some examples of BIM softwares: ArchiCAD, Revit Architecture, Vectorworks Architect. So these are some examples of BIM softwares. With the help of BIM softwares, BIM softwares also, they also have the ability to design 3D visualization, but there is a difference between BIM softwares and 3D visualization software. So in BIM softwares, we could also design or draft the plan, as well as at the same time it develops the 3D, it develops the elevation, it develops the 3D section of that particular project parallelly, without drawing them separately in different sheets. So this is how BIM softwares are different from a normal 3D visualization software. In normal 3D visualization software, we don't need a proper plan. Even without a proper plan, we could draft a, develop a 3D. But in case of BIM software, we need a properly drafted plan to make it a 3D project. Then we have 3D rendering softwares. See what happens in architecture or in interior, I mean in any field of design, when we use softwares, it's not like it doesn't I mean with the use of a single software we cannot complete the project. Just by using AutoCAD I cannot complete my project. Just by using ArchiCAD I cannot complete my project. I have to use different softwares for different stages of my, or for different phases of my project. For 2D drafting stages, I will use a different software. For the 3D visualization, maybe I'll use a different software. And after the 3D visualization is done, for the rendering, for the realistic rendering part, I could use a different architecture software which is available in the market. And once the 3D is done, then after that also for the presentation drawings I will use a different software. So all these different phases requires the use of different softwares which are available. So if you see the 3D rendering softwares, we have Lumion 3D, Atlantis, V-Ray, iRender. So these are some examples of 3D rendering softwares. And one more thing need to be taken care of, then that when you will be buying your computers systems, you have to see the configuration of your systems, because like for Lumion 3D, to run Lumion 3D, you have to have I think it's a minimum of 16 GB RAM or 8 GB RAM that you have to see. So all these requirements of the softwares need to be met when you buy your systems or PCs. So Lumion 3D, Atlantis, V-Ray, iRender, all these are examples of 3D rendering softwares. Atlantis come with ArchiCAD. So AutoCAD is a product of Autodesk, and ArchiCAD and Atlantis, these are products of Graphisoft. Then we have simulation softwares. So these are some examples like Ecotech, Autodesk Ecotech and Design Builder. These are some examples of simulation software. So what is the use of simulation softwares? See, once you do a 3D visualization of a project, you can do such kind of experiments with the use of this simulation softwares. So you could see how shadows will play a role in your project, how your internal space will get how much energy, your internal space will get how much daylight, your internal space will get how much heat into the space. So all these statistics and data you can get with the help of this simulation softwares. Then we have softwares to prepare presentation drawing. So I have already said, so once you are done with your 3D visualization and the basic architectural drawings are completed, then you have to prepare presentation drawings. So Photoshop, Pixel Editor, Canva, ZIMP. So these are some presentation preparation softwares for architecture and design. Then we have animation editing softwares: Windows Movie Maker, Adobe Premiere, Filmora, Go, After Effects. These are some animation softwares. Because why animation is required? When you are supposed to make a 3D walkthrough of your project, that 3D walkthrough of that project that you have extracted from your 3D softwares, that you have to edit it again before you send it to the client or before you present it to the developer. So that editing of those animation should be done in these type of softwares. Like Windows Movie Maker is the basic software that comes with our normal system. We also have Adobe Premiere, Filmora Go, After Effects. A free version of these softwares like Adobe Premiere, Filmora Go, and After Effects. Free version of these softwares are also available in the internet, but you could also buy the pro version of these softwares. Now, see, we have understood the requirement of softwares and the application of softwares in architecture. Now, see, coordination of software and hardware. I've already told you that if I have to use Lumion 3D in my system, so I should take care the configuration of my system, that 16 GB of RAM, 4 GB of graphic cards in my system has to be there. Without those configuration, I cannot run Lumion 3D. So that coordination between the software and the hardware has to be there when you use those softwares, right? So proper selection of hardwares are also required with softwares, with the proper selection of softwares. I mean, I should know what type of software I need to use for a particular project. At the same time, I should also know that what type of hardware I should use to complete that project. For 2D drafting, definitely I'll use AutoCAD 2D. For 2D drafting, I will not use the animation softwares. No? So according to my requirement, I should be able to select or choose the proper or the appropriate type of softwares. So these sketchpad monitors are effective to prepare conceptual architectural drawings. So why I have included these about these sketchpads or digital pads, because now see we are teaching online today, so it's not possible to have the experience of a normal classroom. So when uh, teachers will be teaching you design, or you will be learning design from your teachers, so it's not possible to learn from presentation. It's not possible to learn from normal online mode of teaching learning method. So there has to be some provision where you could directly sketch on the platform, so that from the mutual part, I mean from the from the both of the sides, and from the students part also, as well as from the teachers part also, they can share some space or share some platform where they both of us could sketch on a platform. So that type of arrangement need to be done before we learn architectural, architectural design type of coach. So what is next? So the coordination between brain, hand, and software output has to be there. I mean, what happens is in most of the cases of architectural students of architecture, what is happening is they they think something in their mind, but when it comes to draw it with the softwares properly, it's not possible to directly convert my imagination to a proper drawing. So it is always required that the coordination between my brain, my hand, and the software that is being used by me. So that coordination is very much required. Without that proper coordination, I won't be able to uh, prepare a proper 3D visualization or proper 2D visualization uh, of the imagination of the philosophy that I have in my mind. So that coordination between brain, hand, and software output need to have to be there. So now we need some interface like this. I mean, we already have these things, but still these softwares or hardwares are not that user friendly or for architects or designers. So we need some interface like this where we could directly make the 3D on our sketchpad, or the screen on our laptops or systems. But we need to understand this fact that software doesn't make you an architect. It is just a part of architectural education. Many students think that by learning architecture softwares by learning AutoCAD, by learning ArchiCAD, by learning Google SketchUp, by learning Lumion 3D, and by learning just only the softwares, I would be able to become a good architect or good designer. This is a myth. This is not correct. This is only a part of architectural education. You can only become a good draftsman just by having good skills of architectural softwares, but you cannot become a good designer or good architect with the help of architectural softwares. It's a part of architectural education. We need to respect it, but to become an architect or become a designer, my philosophy should be different. And to become a draftsman, my philosophy is different, right? So we need to keep this thing in mind, that software doesn't make you an architect. It is just a part of architectural education. So this is what from my side to make you understood the requirement of architectural softwares in the field of architecture.